Well,
we can be
Indiana football,
we can be
I'm going to
excited
talk
about
about
that.
Indiana football,
Yeah.
and not just Indiana.
There you go.
Indiana and Purdue, both in the same day or close to it,
Yeah,
flip
same day.
a player committed elsewhere. Purdue flips a wide receiver from Louisville, which is more than surprising to me because they have recently former Purdue coach Jeff Brom, who is an offensive type of guru,
Oh yeah.
who throws the ball. Purdue is coached by a defensive coach. But he is their OC is a guy that's kind of through the Mike Lynch system, so maybe they're kind of getting their sea legs, but they flip a guy, and that's a big deal. Indiana, on the other hand, which does something that's more important, I think. They flip 2025 wide receiver Davion Chandler from Illinois to Indiana. I think that the buzz that Kurt Signetti and crew have created it just continues. They have been landing commitments left and right here. And more importantly, he's an in-state recruit. And if you get any in-state, like 3-star types, they do. They don't get many of the 4 and none of the 5 stars. But Davion played at Lawrence North. Plays at Lawrence North. He's good. He was one of the top guys around last year. That's a big deal. Bringing in and starting to secure in-state talent is something Indiana has just not done a good job of, because if players were the few upper level elite players the state has produced, they're like, well, I've got an offer from Ohio State. I've got an offer from Michigan, wherever the case may be. It wasn't going to be Indiana, and I understand that. But I think this first season is going to be so important. It's truly going to change it could. And I can't believe I've never talked so positively about an upcoming season for Indiana football. And it's not because of a lack of desire. It just wasn't there. And, you look at the schedule, Dylan, and a 6-0 start is absolutely not out of the question. And I know how crazy that sounds. The likelihood of it happening is probably not there. That makes 5-1 all the more likely. But regardless, that is a great possibility. And if they're able to go 5-1 to start the season, much less 6-0, things are going to be really, the buzz is just going to start spinning faster. But that is going to lead to better commitments. And Indiana is very much in the hunt for Julian Lewis, the number 1 recruit and quarterback in the country. Indiana is one of the final 2 schools. And I that's the information I have been given. And I heard that somewhere else also, there's someone. So I'm not the only person who understands that. And I saw someone that kind of explained it a little bit better. I think USC is out with him. I think it's Indiana and Auburn. But the deal with Auburn is they're going to have probably a couple of guys like Juju Lewis when he's there or when he gets there. Indiana, while having a really good quarterbacks room, is not going to have probably the same talent. Definitely won't have the same type of talent that Auburn does at the moment. But I think that they can quickly get there. The fact that the offensive line has really taken a couple of clicks up under Mike Bostad, the only coach that Kurt Signetti kept on this entire staff, tells you something right there. The running backs room, the offense is just going to be solid. A lot less mistakes is what I expect this year. And because of that, I think that it's going to make it very attractive to someone like Julian Lewis, who doesn't matter where he goes. He knows he's going to get the tutelage because he's got the relationship. That's why Indiana's in the position they are with him.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is that, like if you look on, I use just looking at On3 right now, for example. I know you're a Rivals guy, Mike, so I apologize, but right now the 5 schools even listed on his page in terms of schools that have a chance are USC, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, and IU. That's one of those things is not like the other. In terms of
yes.
in terms of just the history there, and so it matters that IU is even in the race there, right? Because they had him on campus. It seems like they really impressed him when he visited there. They seem like obviously they want him, but it's one of those things where it's just good to have your name in the conversation with a recruit like that, right? Especially if you're IU, who has not gotten recruits at that level for a long time and almost never, basically. And and what that does is it helps you get guys who are not quite as highly touted but see the buzz, right? And that's part of what we saw yesterday with Davion Chandler, who committed, a Lawrence North guy, I believe, who flipped from Illinois to IU. And I saw something funny, which was that someone tweeted a picture of Eric Gordon, and he retweeted it.
That is so funny because
good.
I thought of that immediately.
Yeah.
And it's the same reason. It's the same exact reason. When Eric Gordon decommitted to Illinois and committed back to Indiana, it was simply because Indiana had fired Mike Davis and had hired Kelvin Sampson. That was what it's about. Illinois and the Ludu, they go berserk and acted like that this is just the greatest heist in the history of the world and carried this thing on in Illinois. I'm like going, hey, idiots, you realize he's from Indiana, right? You realize he probably wanted to play at Indiana, the school that is with the history, but just wasn't going to go there because the situation wasn't correct. And the situation changed. But boy, did they whine. I'm like, man, they must have went through a lot of cheese with that wine.
Yeah, they went through it back then. I remember that as someone who lived in Illinois. That was, I mean, even as I was 12 at the time, that was a huge deal. But no, Davion Chandler, he's a wide receiver from Lawrence North. IU has a wide receiver from Lawrence North on their team right now who is among the best in the entire Big Ten. Like that's something to watch. And a guy who, by the way, put his name in the transfer portal when Curt Cignetti got hired, and Curt Cignetti convinced him to come back. Right? Like that is a heck of an example to follow. If you're Davion Chandler and you're looking at, well, what's Donovan McCulley, who's in the exact same situation I am, what's he doing? Well, he thought about leaving. He decided, no, I'd rather be here and play for this coaching staff. That's a huge deal for IU, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so it seems like, by the way, there's more commitments coming because IU just finished their official visit time. Official visit time is over now. The dead period has started.
They've been landing commitments left and right.
Yeah, and it seems like there's more to come. And so there's it's a pretty exciting time for IU football, and we shouldn't shortchange Purdue either. I know this is mostly an IU show. You're based in Bloomington, but the receiver that
we
Purdue
talk about it all. We talk about Notre Dame and whatever there is to talk about.
The receiver Purdue got, LeBron Hill, is also an Indiana guy from Hammond. And
now, see, I think that was a bigger flip, and personally,
absolutely.
Because getting him away, like I said earlier, from Jeff Brom, who that's what he does, man. And so, it's that to me that was more and surprising. You know, Indiana or Purdue was really wonky last year under this coach. The offense was up and down. I don't know what they have really as far as quarterback. I haven't followed them close enough yet.
They have Hudson Card, who is going to be the starter this year, but he won't be there. This is his last year of eligibility, so he won't be there for LeBron Hill. They have a guy coming in. Last weekend they got Oscar Rios, who is a top 10 quarterback recruit in the 2026 class. And then they have Marcos Davila, who is a 4-star kid in 2024, also signed. So that's the future. Those two guys are the future at the position. I assume that Davila is not going to, maybe he'll be ready next year. Maybe they feel he will be, but I would assume they go transfer portal hunting for a quarterback this coming offseason because Card will be out of eligibility. But I mean, Card was really good last year. Like, I wouldn't say really good. I'd say he got better as the season went on, and by the end of the season, it seemed like he had a real grasp of the offense and was really comfortable. The problem was that he was hurt for a good portion of the season. I think he's going to be pretty good this year. I think the offense should be good as a result. Obviously, losing Deion Burks, their best wide receiver, to Oklahoma as a transfer hurts, but I think that offense is set up to be pretty good, and so I think that'll be a pretty good kind of showcase of what Graham Harrell, the offensive coordinator you mentioned from the Mike Leach tree, I think that's going to be a pretty good showcase of what he does. So I think, again, if we talked about this last week, for as much buzz as IU has, I think justifiably so, I think they're going to be pretty good this year. I think it's pretty exciting. I think Purdue is going to take a step forward as well. I would not be surprised if Purdue is also a bowl team this year, which is obviously significantly better than they were last year. And even last year, they took significant steps forward as the season went on, and Ryan Walters learned what it is to be a head coach. And so I think there is much quieter, but I do think there's justifiable buzz for Purdue as well because there's some talent on that team.
Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and thank you for enjoying our content and videos. And make sure you hit that subscribe and notifications toggle so you don't miss out on anything, whether it's Indiana Hoosiers, the Boilers, the Colts, the Pacers, Indiana high school action, whatever's happening in sports. We're trying to bring it all to you, and make sure you don't miss out on a thing. Again, hit the subscribe button for us. Helps us out a ton. We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much.